been thinking a lot about this experience of reading a transcript, actually, of one of the dialogues I did with John Vervaeke and Jordan Hall and Christopher. And we're all working on this anthology together. We're all contributing a section to this. And basically it's about dialogos. And in the chapter that Chris and John are writing, part of it was laying out the transcript of one of the dialogues, and I read it, and Chris read it, and Chris mentioned something that was really striking, because it was really my experience too, which was in reading them, in reading the text, it was so clear how world-forming the conversation was. Like, there really was a sense in which reading it, you can really kind of get this world start formed. And in some way, the world, it became so obvious that the world were the ones who were coming to character as the interlocers. In a way that wasn't as apparent when we were in the dialogue. And it's not, what I'm not saying is it wasn't like being in the dialogue. I mean, clearly there was a world that conversation was worlding. But it wasn't foreground. In fact, it also kind of seems obvious of, reading it, is that, because this is what a world does, right? It becomes the background or the horizon that allows the particulars of that world to gather, right? And in its withdrawal, the world as such, the particular world of the fruit fly or the sidewalk or the person walking down the sidewalk, right, gets to come into appearance. And so, in some sense, right, the world formation of the conversation was a world to the degree that it did withdraw. However, in what was foreground for us were the particular people, right? The faces of the other and what they said, and being one of the people. And there really is this awareness, and this is part of what makes it dialogos, is that on some level there is a sense in which you hear yourself putting together thoughts in such a way and saying things spontaneously that are so above your normal pay grade, right? And that's the fascinating part of it, right? So, and I think what's interesting about being one of the interlockers is that where I do think the background or the world bled into the foreground, I think is in the experience of a profound affinity felt with each other. There's a certain kind of sparkling, glistening sense of kind of, I don't know what to call it, just other than a stunning, almost transpersonal affinity for the other. It's really quite ecstatic. And I think that's those moments of affinity are the way that the world breaks through, right? It bleeds through the figure. And one could say that, the conversation was this kind of background, foreground, right? World forming. I suppose what we can say, I notice seeing that one begins to wonder the particular character one is in your life. Kind of seems, it seems like you're the person. I'm the one walking, I'm the one talking, I'm in the world. But I wonder if it isn't also the case that the characters that we become are as such as being a part of a conversation that in itself is world forming, and that world is coming into character.